So apparently it's Spider-Man week on Action Figure Obsession. Yesterday, took a whole bunch of my Clone Saga related figures and put them on the table here, showed them off to you. I had to put them back and pulled some stuff out to make room so I didn't have to knock everybody over. My Spider-Man display has about 65, 70 figures on it. And so here we have all of my Marvel Cinematic Universe / Sony movie Spider-Man related figures. And there are many more than this. They've done quite a few villains like Mysterio. Actually, I do have the movie Green Goblin from Spider-Man No Way Home, but because he's on his glider and it's a big contraption, I didn't want to pull that out of the display. That would have only ended in tragedy. As you see, I'm not very good at keeping these people on their feet, so I'm going to try to not knock anything over in this one and just give you a quick rundown of what we have here. When I first started getting back into Marvel Legends around 2014, 2015, I had been collecting them from day one in 2002 when the line first started, but I gave up on it after a few years. I kind of lost interest in it. I had a lot going on. I was publishing a website about comic books, and I was holding down a full-time job, and just didn't really didn't have the time for the action figure collecting and hunting them down and finding out what was coming out. But around 2014 or so, I was in a Walmart in Ticonderoga, New York, and I saw the Scarlet Witch that had come out around that time, which now, by today's standards, is not a great character. In fact, by today's standards, we still haven't really gotten a good Scarlet Witch. But this was a comic Scarlet Witch. The head sculpt was very nice, and it looked very good in the box. And I didn't buy it, but I made a note of it. Wow, Marvel Legends have improved. They're doing a better job with the sculpting and the paint. It looks much better than the last time I saw them. And it wasn't long after that I stumbled upon the Walgreens exclusive first appearance yellow and brown Daredevil at a Walgreens store. Well, it's a Walgreens exclusive, so of course at that point that was the only place you were going to find it. But found that, and then I got a Bullseye not long after that, and then I was off to the races, and it's been full speed ahead now for, I don't know, something like 11 years. And one of the things that I was very interested in early on was having a complete set of the Marvel Cinematic Universe figures, the movie figures, which are scaled a little bit smaller than the comic book figures. And I'll show you. Here's a full-size comic book Spider-Man. Let's put him next to the full-size movie J. Jonah Jameson. And you can see he is leaning a little bit, but even if I were to get him fully upright, he's still shorter than Spider-Man, as he should be anyway, because, you know, Spider-Man is a heroic build. But J. Jonah Jameson, all the MCU figures are a little smaller, you know, than the comic figures. I had originally thought they would be interchangeable with the comic figures, so you could have your movie Captain America meet your comic book Falcon or whatever. Oftentimes, because of the slight difference in scale, that doesn't really work. The movie figures are about a half an inch smaller than the comic figures, which are a heroic, as they call it, 6.5 inches is the average for the comic figures, whereas just under 6 inches to exactly 6 inches seems to be the average for most of the movie figures. So at one point I had probably 75% of the movie figures, and after Avengers Endgame I just kind of felt like I was done with the MCU. I was satisfied with the experience. I never really enjoyed the figures the way I do the comic figures. Comic figures have better articulation. They're more nostalgic for me because they remind me of the comics I was reading when I was a kid. And I sold off probably 95% of my MCU Marvel Legends. In fact, like this was one of them, this homemade suit Spider-Man from the first Spider-Man movie. You know, the before Tony Stark gives him his upgraded first real superhero costume. And actually, you know, we were talking about the Scarlet Spider yesterday, Ben Reilly. That costume that he wore in the movie when he was running around in his little homemade suit is based on the Scarlet Spider, which I showed you yesterday. I don't have one handy right here, but it's basically the colors are an inversion. He's blue where Scarlet Spider was red, and vice versa for the most part. And it definitely is reminiscent of the look of the Scarlet Spider. And so that, probably is why, even though I sold this one off, originally I did reacquire it and got this version, or this example of it. I don't have the original that I bought. But most of the rest of these, I think I probably held on to. I don't think I sold them off and then had to reacquire them. So we have the homemade suit Spider-Man here. We have Peter Parker. This was a two-pack, the Peter Parker and his best buddy Ned Leeds right there. They were in a two-pack together. And then, of course, MJ with the... I don't even remember what they called that now, but the device that set off all the shenanigans in No Way Home that had Spider-Man meeting his two alternate universe counterparts from the Sam Raimi movies and then the Amazing Spider-Man series. So the one on the left of these three Spider-Men that you see in the center here, the one in front is the final swing version of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. You saw him literally in that suit in the final seconds of Spider-Man No Way Home. And then to the left, to Tom Holland's right, is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and then on on Tom Holland's left, our right, is the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man movies version of Spider-Man. That figure has just been re-released with a lighter blue, and it looks pretty good. I've seen reviews of it. I probably would grab it if I could find it somewhere on clearance, but in the meantime, this one does me just fine. And one of the things that I like about this one is something that Toy Biz always did when they had the Marvel Legends license, but you don't see it very often with Hasbro Marvel Legends, is that the webbing on his costume is not only painted, but it's also sculpted. It's sculpted and painted, which gives it kind of a 3D look. I don't know if the camera can capture that or not, but it's very, very, it gives it a good texture, and it's, let's see if we can see it on his head, the 3D sculpted lines. So the lines are raised in relief, and then they are painted, and it really gives it a much nicer, non-toyetic sort of adult collectible look when they do that. And the Tobey Maguire one also has that, but it's painted silver. The lines are sculpted and then painted. And of course, that's how the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man suit looked in the movie. Not quite. This figure isn't quite movie accurate to any movie that I'm aware of, but that's what we've gotten for Tobey Maguire from Hasbro Marvel Legends so far. So those are the three Spider-Men that feature in the multiverse crossover film Spider-Man No Way Home, and also making his debut in a Marvel movie was Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, who played Peter Parker's attorney in Spider-Man No Way Home. And this is actually the Matt Murdock Spider-Man No Way Home figure. So these are all my... Oh, did I skip over Jonah? Of course I did, because he's such a jerk. It's so hard to want to talk about him. But the wonderful, wonderful J. Jonah Jameson figure from... I'm not sure if that one was from No Way Home or the one before that, the second Spider-Man movie. From one of those Spider-Man movies, anyway. And the funny thing is that I think almost all of these, definitely J. Jonah Jameson, definitely Matt Murdock, definitely the Ned and Peter 2-pack, they all went to clearance either at Ollie's or other discount stores. And I think... I'm not sure about the trio of Spider-Men from No Way Home, if they ever actually went to clearance, but they were on shelves for a good long time. Usually Spider-Man figures sell out pretty quickly at big box retail, Target, Target and Walmart, GameStop, stuff like that. Spider-Men don't usually stick around, but they seem to have overproduced... when they released these 3 figures on retro cards or retro style cards, they seem to be readily available for a couple of months, which was nice because it gives little kids an opportunity. They're cruising the toy aisle, they can ask mom for Spider-Man and actually get one. That's a pretty nice thing. But this is a pretty good assemblage of most of the main, at least protagonist characters in the Spider-Man movies. As I say, I do have the Green Goblin, and I think one of the other villains from No Way Home. I'm trying to think, and nothing's... Oh, Dr. Octopus. I have the Dr. Octopus from No Way Home. He's really difficult to get out of the display because he's standing up on his arms, his octopus arms, and so all the characters around him are kind of wedged in between the arms, and taking him out of there is going to knock everybody down. So at this point, I've taken so many figures out of my Spider-Man display that I am actually considering either completely redoing that display and sort of reprioritizing who's who, because I do want to center the Clone Saga a little bit more than it currently is in my displays, because that probably is my favorite Spider-Man story, despite its flaws and weaknesses and the damage that it did to Spider-Man as a franchise in the comics. But I was also thinking, what if I took all my Spider-Man figures and put them on my work table? Because I do hold Spider-Man near and dear, and I do pull him out an awful lot to make videos and do photo shoots and stuff. And a lot of this stuff, while I love all these figures, a lot of it could be stored. There's a couple Spider-Men that apparently skipped school today. I was thinking all my Spider-Man stuff could go on this table, and I could try to find a home for all these other figures, but I guess we'll figure that out at some point in the next few weeks. In the meantime, I just wanted to share with you my little assemblage of Marvel Cinematic Universe / Sony movie Spider-Man figures. Spider-Man and his friends, and his employer, and his lawyer. Oh, a little rhyme there. And his homemade suit. Really appreciate you stopping by once again for this action figure obsession video. If you like what I'm doing here, please like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get updated whenever I release a new video. And if you think anyone you know might enjoy these little sort of discussions and analysis of these figures, they're not reviews. It's more of a discussion and a personal history of how I happen to, build my collection. I would never call them reviews. I watch a lot of action figure reviews, and I am interested in them, and often my purchasing decisions are based on what I see in those reviews. But I'm just not interested in showing you all the articulation and all that stuff. I generally don't buy figures if they don't have good articulation, or at least decent articulation, where you can get them into some lifelike poses and some action poses. So, you're not going to see a lot of figures in my collection that you really can't do much with. I like to be able to pose, play, and display, as Mezco says. But anyway, yeah, that's it for this action figure obsession video. Appreciate you stopping by, and I will catch you on the next one.